Dear friends, this is our second chapter and our second class. Sonnets in English milieu or English sonnets. The ideology of love in poetry was formed firstly in Troubadour poetry of Aquitaine and Provence in South France towards the end of 11th century. The idea of love in poetry, the theme of love in poetry, was firstly used in Troubadour poetry. Troubadour poetry were in Aquitaine and Provence. Both these places are in South France. And the time was at the end of 11th century. The influence of this style of poetry spread towards Europe, including Italy. This style of poetry or this trend spread towards European nations, including Italy. In the first half of 16th century, Thomas White and Henry Howard, two English politicians, introduced sonnets into England. In the first half of 16th century, Thomas White and Henry Howard introduced or brought the sonnet into English or England. These two personalities were two politicians. They were two English politicians. Actually, for the diplomatic mission, they were in Italy. So, after returning, they introduced this poetic form to English or England. The credit of sonnet in English linguistic and literary milieu is recorded in two names. The first one is Thomas White and the second one is Henry Howard. Actually, this is Henry Howard who gave a new form and rhyme scheme for the sonnet in English. Actually, he developed a new rhyme scheme, a new form to the sonnet in English. He developed a new rhyme scheme to the sonnet entirely different from Italian sonnet. And Earl of Surrey, another popular name. Earl of Surrey is the titular name of Henry Howard. Henry Howard is the original name, the real name, and Earl of Surrey is the titular name, the name of position which he acquired. The sonnet of Thomas White and Henry Howard were the just translation of Italian sonnets. Actually, they didn't write sonnets, but they translated the sonnets, this poetic form sonnets, into English from Italy. And they published this poetic form in Richard Tottle's magazine in 1557. They just translated Italian sonnets into English and published these sonnets or poetic form in Richard Tottle's magazine in the year 1557. Name of the magazine was Tottle's Miscellany or Songs and Sonnets. The name of Richard Tottle's magazine is Tottle's Miscellany and the name Songs and Sonnets. The structure of sonnet is different. Here we can see the octave and sestet as two parts of sonnets. Here also we can see two parts, octave and sestet. In English, the octave of sonnet is with 3 quatrains. The 3 quatrains means 12 lines. 3 into 4, 12 lines. And the sestet is a couplet. Couplet is 2 lines. The rhyme scheme is A B A B, C D C D, E F E F and G G. A B A B, C D C D, E F E F in octave and G G in sestet. The rhyme scheme is not copied from Italy because the Italian sonnet rhyme scheme is not this one. Rhyme scheme of Italian sonnet is A B B A in octave and C D E in sestet. In sestet, another one is C D C or C D C. But the octave is a strict one, rigid one. This is A B B A. But at the same time, in English sonnet, we can see the rhyme scheme as A B, C D, E F and G G. A B, C D, E F in octave as 3 quatrains and G G in sestet. Sestet is a couplet. Quatrain is of 4 line stanza and the couplet is of 2 lines. The Earl of Surrey adopted a different rhyme scheme from Italian mode, and the climax of thought falls in couplet. In the sonnet, we can see the climax always in couplet. Couplet is the part of sestet, so the climax is in sestet. That the highest peak of poet's thoughts is there. Or there we can see in sestet part or in couplet we can see the last couplet we can see the highest thought of poet. Shakespeare's sonnet Remembrance is one of the best example for this. In Remembrance, we can see the climax in couplet or in sestet. Then another personality of sonnet in English was Edmund Spenser. Spenser owed particularly to the continental writers that he had evolved the style of imagery of Italian poet Tasso and the French poet Ronsard. Actually, in the case of imagery, Spenser copied 2 poets. The first one is Italian poet Tasso and the second one is French poet Ronsard. He developed a variety style. This is Spenserian variety, Spenserian sonnet. In his sonneteering style, each of the quatrains was linked to the next quatrains. For this, He used an intermixture of rhymes, which is A B A B, B C B C, C D C D, E E. In a quatrain or in a 4 lines, the first and the third lines are in same rhyme, and just like the second and the fourth also same. The first and third are same, the second and fourth are same. This is the pattern in the quatrains. Moreover, the rhyming pattern of the fourth or the last line in a quatrain is the same in the first line of the next quatrain. That means the last line of a quatrain repeat as the first line of the next quatrain. That means the last line of a quatrain and the first line of the next quatrain are same. The next point is the chronology of English sonnets. At first, English sonnet was an imitation of Petrarchan sonnets, both in the case of stanza form and subject matter. At first, English sonnet was just an imitation of Petrarchan sonnets. In the case of structure and in the case of subject matter also. The adoration and pain of a lover, especially of unrequited love. This was the subject matter. In early 16th century or the first half of 16th century, it was Sir Thomas White and Earl of Surrey or Henry Howard introduced this poetic form, sonnet, to the milieu of English. And the Earl of Surrey, Henry Howard, developed a different stanza form. As we told, the sonnet with the rhyme scheme of A B A B, C D C D, E F E F, and G G in 3 quatrains and a couplet. They published it in Total Miscellany in 1557. It was in the period of the Renaissance, or the period between 15,000 and 1500 and 1660. This is the English sonnet and known in the name of William Shakespeare. Actually, the Italian sonnet is known in the name of Petrarchan sonnet or classical sonnet. Just like the English sonnet became Shakespearean sonnet because he was the constant practitioner of sonnet. The next one is Johnson. It was Johnson who shifted the subject matter from sensuality to the spirituality. Johnson shifted the subject matter or the theme of sonnet from sensuality to the spirituality. And this is unwrapped or can be seen in his early 17th century sonnet. This is Holy Sonnets. And in the later part of the 17th century, John Milton shifted the subject matter from serious concern. And so, Miltonic sonnets are reflective in nature. The character of Miltonic sonnet is reflective in nature. That means it will awake our thought. Reflective means it will awake our thought or thought-provoking. He used this poetic form to praise somebody. He used this poetic form or sonnet to praise somebody. The Restoration period was not popular for sonnets. In the period of Restoration, the sonnet was not much popular. Though popular in Renaissance, but it was very popular in Renaissance. And Renaissance is the golden period of sonnets. And it was lapsed in English neoclassical period, whose sonnet was absent in neoclassic period. The neoclassic period can be classified as three: Restoration period, Augustan age, and the age of Johnson. Then later it was reformed. The sonnet was reformed or restored in Romantic period by the pen of William Wordsworth, Christina Rossetti, D.J. Rossetti, P.B. Shelley, John Keats, and the Victorian poet Elizabeth Barrett Browning. He also used this poetic form. And the 17th century witnessed the transition of sonneteering style from the space of romance to the different dimensions. With this movement, the space of sonnet is transfigured from the milieu of secular to spiritual. And so, the artistry of sonnet became multicolored. So, the 19th century brought many prime sonneteers. Who are them? 19th century sonneteers are William Wordsworth, John Keats, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, Christina Rossetti, and D.G. Rossetti. D.G. Rossetti, Dante Gabriel Rossetti. These are the prime 19th century English sonneteers. And another personality, Gerard Manley Hopkins. Gerard Manley Hopkins and G.M. Hopkins, the Victorian poet, invented or experimented two types of sonnet. G.M. Hopkins experimented two types of sonnet in English. Which are them? Caudate Sonnet and Caudate Sonnet. Caudate Sonnet and Caudate Sonnet. Caudate Sonnet is of 11 lines or 10 and half lines. Strictly we can say 10 and half lines. Here in place of octave, Hawkins used a sestet. That means in the part of octave, he used a 6-lined part. And in the place of sestet, he used a quatrains. In the part of sestet, we can see a quatrain plus a tailpiece. A quatrain with a tailpiece. So, totally 10 and half lines. That means in octave part 6 lines, and in the part of sestet we can see 4.5 lines. So 6 plus 4.5 lines, totally 10.5 lines. He used it in his 3 poems: Pied Beauty, Peace, and the third one is Ashbows. Which are the 3 poems? Pied Beauty. The first one is Pied Beauty. Second one is Peace. And the third one is Ashbows. Ashbows. And in his another poem, The Nature is a Herculean Fire, he used the length of Caudate Sonnet. Another one is Caudate Sonnet. Or we can say that Hawkins' Caudate Sonnet is The Nature is a Herculean Fire. This is the Caudate Sonnet written by G.M. Hawkins. Actually, he evolved it from Italian poet Francesco Burney, who is the inventor of Caudate Sonnet. Milton also used this sonneteering style in his sonnet on the new forces of conscience under long parliament. Caudate sonnet is used for satire. Caudate sonnet is used for satire. This is used for satirical purpose. And in this sonneteering style, we can see 14 lines and an additional coda or a tailpiece. 14 plus additional coda or tailpiece. So totally 15 lines. Coda in Latin and coda in English. C-A-U-D-A, coda in Latin, and C-O-D-A, coda in English. So we can say that our Gerard Manley Hawkins used both the curtal and caudate sonneteering styles. The curtal sonnet is invented by Hawkins himself, but caudate sonnet is by Francesco Burney or Franz Burney, an Italian poet. Who is the inventor of curtal sonnet? The answer is G.M. Hawkins. But who is the inventor of caudate sonnet? The answer is Francesco Burney, an Italian poet, or Franz Burney. And in the 20th century, the prime sonneteers in 20th century are Irish poet William Butler Yeats, W.B. Yeats, American poet Robert Frost, Welsh poet Dylan Thomas, Anglo-American poet W.H. Auden, American poet Edwin Arlington Robinson, and the U.S. lyric poet Edna St. Vincent Millay. These are the prime sonneteers in the 20th century. And in the 21st century, in this century, the prime sonneteer is the American poet Richard Purdy Wilbur. Richard Purdy Wilbur is the prime sonneteer in the 21st century. The next topic is theme or subject matter of English sonnets. theme or subject matter. Actually, the sonnet mirrors the passions of the poets. Sonnets is the presentation of poets' passions. So there is no any strict or rigid range in the zone of subject or theme. At first, it was the feudal themes and ideas. At first, the subject matter was very feudal themes or ideas. The sonneteers in Italy used this poetic form to present courtly love and sensuality. The Italian poet or Petrarchan sonnets, we can see the theme as courtly love. Courtly love as the theme. And in this, this was the celebration of adultery, unrequited love, the near deification of the mistress, or the celebration of the faithful service to the beloved, which was paradoxical. And the theme, courtly love. In this theme, we can see the celebration of adultery, unrequited love, the near deification of the mistress, or the celebration of the faithful service to the beloved. All these was the subject matters. That means, in somewhere, the courtly love points out the paradoxical discourse. The courtly love points out the paradoxical discourse of adultery and fidelity. Adultery and fidelity. This is the paradoxical discourse. So, this was uncovering of the intense physical passion, which was celebrated in an idealized and almost spiritualized fashion. Simply, we can say that they colored the physical passion in the artistry of sonnet. So the theme was on physical passion. It was celebrated as an idealized, almost spiritualized fashion. In a while, we can see this shift from the earlier course of courtly love to a more celebratory court, that is, to the worldly and realizable love. That means it reached to the space of lay people. From the position of courtly love of nobility and chivalry, it reached to the space of lay people, common man. The 16th century or early Elizabethans used the sonnet to present romantic love, especially to present unrequited love. So, in the 16th century or early Elizabethan period, the poets used sonnet to present romantic love. Their theme was romantic love, particularly we can say that it was unrequited love. And in the 17th century, John Milton used this poetic form with a greatly widened subject, that is, to the spirituality, and at the same time to the range of human feelings and experience, and can be seen the epigrammatic turn in the last couplet also.